Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to New Life Live. Really glad that you're with us here today. Milan Yerkovich is with me, and I'm always glad to do this program with him. And if you're watching on Facebook, you could join us, 1-800-229-3000. Milan, good to see you.
And you, Steve. It's always a pleasure to be with you, and just enjoy this time.
Yeah. Well, you know, we love to chit-chat and everything, but we have a board full of callers. I'm going to go right to one of our calls because we have so many. I want to get to all of them if I possibly can. So let's just go to Amy in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, WFIL. Hi, Amy. You're on with Milan and Steve.
Hi, guys. Thanks so much for taking my call.
Sure. What's going on?
So I'm calling to you today about my sister. I really feel like I'm at a crossroads in my relationship with her. She's my only sister. She suffers from mental illness since college. We're both middle-aged now. And so this has kind of been like an ongoing, long-time thing. But for a long time, I feel like she uses her mental illness as like a defense to use the word manipulate the situation if there's any kind of problem, say on my end as far as relational. And I just feel like I'm at this part to where I don't know what to do as far as being in our sisterly relationship. What had happened, just kind of to culminate, just had an issue with her. We had some extended family issues, and I felt hurt and disrespected, so I went to her, wanted to talk to her about it. And then every time I tried to talk to her about it, she just says that she has mental illness and that she could be suicidal, and she just can't talk about it. But she could talk to me about things if I've hurt her or bothered her, but it kind of seems like it's a one-way street. So I even offered to go to seek a counselor because I thought that might help. We could talk things over with somebody, have a third party in the room. I really wanted to do it so that, I cherish her. She's my sister. Yeah. And, we both are believers, and I offered to pay for the counseling, go meet her and
let me ask
there.
you a quick question. So
Sure.
What would you have wanted her to say to you when you went to her? What were you hoping that she might be able to say?
I was hoping just for an explanation as to her actions, and, I was hurt, so I guess if she could either see that she had hurt me and if she didn't know that she did it, could kind of see that she did it, or an apology if she knew that she had hurt me.
Okay. Well, you start off by saying that she really does have some problems, emotional, mental problems, but then you went on to give the impression that you were expecting a response that would come from somebody that didn't have emotional problems or mental problems. And I'm just wondering if you could accept her limitation and not expect her to do anything but, insensitive things and not be able to respond very well as a normal person would. It just seems like that might be a better direction for you, and that is to kind of grieve the loss of a normal relationship and then accept what you can, and then it's more all about what you're putting into her, because she's got a problem. So you're affirming her, encouraging her, but not expecting anything from her. I know that sounds maybe really hard, but I think sometimes we're, that old saying, you can't get blood out of a turnip. The reason it's still around is because a lot of people have been trying it for a long time. We'll take a break, come back, and let Milan give you some encouragement, some thoughts here.
After I found the pornography on the internet, I said you either get help
or I have to leave this household.
Every day, thousands of women discover their husband is struggling with sexual integrity. And since shelter-in-place orders have gone into effect, traffic to porn sites has skyrocketed. New Life's Every Man's Battle workshop can help.
I believed that I could do it on my own. I just believed if I tried hard enough and pulled myself up hard enough by my bootstraps, I could do it. It was a battle that I'd had all my life. I had to get help.
The Every Man's Battle workshop can be a trip to the sexual addiction emergency room. During this time of social distancing, the Every Man's Battle workshop will be held online Saturday, January 9th. Find sexual integrity, accountability, and connection. Register now to reserve a place at the Every Man's Battle online workshop. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
The single most helpful thing was to realize that I wasn't the weirdest guy on the planet.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-NEWLIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here with Milan Yerkovich, and halfway through the month of December here. Milan, you have a thought here for Amy, who's struggling with a sister that's really struggling herself.
Hi, Amy. You know, it would be so hard, excuse me, to have a sister that you want to have a sisterly relationship with, and one that you love her and you really cherish her, but she can't be reciprocal to you. And I would have to agree with Steve. You can do your best. You can say, that really hurt me, what you said back there, or what happened back there was hurtful. But it sounds as though she's not able to do anything more with that without playing I'm injured card, and I can't work in that world. So really what you're missing, Amy, is a sisterly sister. And I agree with Steve. If she's not willing to take the relationship further, and I appreciate you've attempted to try to offer places where we could get a third party, but a counselor, those are wonderful things to offer, but I'm not sure if they're going to work with your sister. I agree with Steve. I think you may just have to accept the limitations, and that the relationship, even though you cherish her, I love that word, it's very kind and loving of you, is just not going to be as sisterly as you would want.
What do you think, Amy?
I really appreciate that, and it's hard to hear, but I guess for me then, how do I self-preserve? Because I can't have a fake relationship, and I feel like that's just what she wants then. So I guess if you accept her limitations and don't expect anything above her limitations, you're not having a fake relationship. When I restrain certain things I'd like to say to my children from time to time, that's not faking the relationship. It's just monitoring the relationship and knowing what would be helpful to the kids and what would not, and telling them I'd like them to go live with someone else when they've frustrated me. That's not going to be helpful. They're not going to take that well. And so I don't think you have to be fake to limit the kind of interaction that you have.
I agree with that, Steve. What you're doing, Amy, is you're making it all or nothing. It's either all good or it's all bad, or it's real or it's fake. Let me give you another way to look at relationships. If you think of a pyramid or a triangle, and you divide a triangle horizontally in threes, the bottom third are acquaintances, the middle third are friends, and the top piece of the triangle or of the pyramid, those are safe people. Now, your sister is not a safe person, and this is something I had to do for myself, and then I do with everywhere I speak and with all the clients. Where do people fall in this pyramid? I have a lot of acquaintances that I don't consider friends, but they're still a part of my world. I talk to them, I'll say hi, occasionally we'll be someplace together, and they're an acquaintance. And so you just have to accept the limitations of whatever category people are in. Now it hurts to have to put a family member down in the acquaintance category, but I have a lot of family members, just extended family, et cetera, that I would consider acquaintances. They don't even know anything about me. So
Yeah.
it's really important that you not reject her all or nothing. It's just I have to reclassify her and get used to the fact that she's not going to be a close friend. So therefore, if a person is acquaintance, I don't tell them as much. I don't share as much. I'm not vulnerable with them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't try to establish a reciprocal, vulnerable relationship.
Yeah. I have an analogy.
All right, let's hear it,
might
Steve.
break through.
All right, here we go.
Imagine me going to a facility and speaking to 100 people, and when I finish, they applaud, they give me a standing ovation, and I walk out to the car with the director and I say, I really think I was a big hit here, and I think I communicated some real truth. And he said, really? Because all of the people in the audience are deaf. Well, it wouldn't mean anything that they gave me a standing ovation. No. Well, she's emotionally deaf in some ways, and she can't emotionally express in other ways. And so this whole Bill W. statement of acceptance is the answer to all my problems today. I think it really does apply here.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you called.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm glad you called. Hold on, I'm going to send you Healing as a Choice. I think you're going to like that an awful lot. Let's go here to Yashiko, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, WFIL. Hi, how are you?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. New Life has been a great help for me. Thank you very much. Today I'm calling to get help with my 23-year-old daughter's addiction to fentanyl.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
Okay. Where does she live?
Well, now she has her own apartment. So it's very hard to communicate with her, to get response from her, and to know how she's doing.
Let me ask you this: is she able to support herself and pay that for the apartment?
Now she's in unemployment. She's getting unemployment.
Okay.
But she's not working now, and I don't think her condition is good enough to be able to work.
Yeah, I would think not.
Her addiction is very getting worse and worse, and she has been to ER for overdose a few times, and she has been to rehab a few times, but she hated the Suboxone treatment. So she's not agreeing to go to the rehab again. She's been taking methadone to help her quit, but she's using drugs over the methadone.
Yeah. Well,
And,
there are
she's,
places that they don't treat people in that way. They use really a concept of abstinence from all things, and it's painful and struggle, but then the person isn't hanging on to the addiction. Well, is the question for us, how do you help her?
Yes. She has mental health issues and depression, anxiety, and ADHD. So she doesn't care if she loses her life. So it has been very hard to get her to motivate to get help she needs. So what can I say? How can I approach her to help her to get help she needs?
Okay. By the way, has your relationship with her been strained for several years or not?
Well, it depends on how she's feeling. When she's feeling good, our communication and our relationship is good. But it depends on, where her mental state is. Then, when I don't hear from her, that's not a good sign usually.
Okay.
When I hear from her, it's a good sign. We have good communication, and she shares a lot of deeps and feelings. When her mind is working right.
Okay. So just a quick question. What would happen if you called her or went by and said, I would like to go to a meeting, a recovery meeting with you tonight? I'd like to take you there and see what that might be like. What would her response be? What do you think it would be?
She rejects it, and she doesn't pick up my call, and she doesn't let me know where she's living. So I don't know where she's. I don't know the address of where she's staying now.
Well, that's pretty tough to help somebody if you don't know where they live. Milan, you have any thoughts here on any of this?
Yoshiko, I am very sad about your story. This would be very hard to watch a 23-year-old daughter suffer like that. What happened, perhaps, in her life that would cause her to have anxiety and depression and even want to use something to make all that go away? Did she have something happen to her?
Well, she had suffered with mental illness all her life. Like, she was diagnosed with bipolar and ADHD at the age of 10. And she was on medication, and her diagnosis has changed to that major depressive disorder and anxiety disorder and ADHD. And she has.
Did anything happen to her in her childhood, Yoshiko? Was she traumatized? Was she hurt? Was she abandoned? Was she misused, molested?
Well, all I can think of is that she had some issue with anger, and sometimes I needed to call the police for her missing or for her attacking me physically and stuff like that, and that can be she can be traumatized by her own action, and police getting involved and things like that.
You see,
I can think of.
So usually children are angry when they're hurt, when they have been hurt. And so what I would want to do, Yoshiko, you could try to say, okay, let's try to stop the addiction. Or we can ask, what is driving the addiction, which is pain. People don't want to feel any bad feelings, especially if they're horrific, especially if they are fearful, frightening, scary, anxious, depressive. And, for a 10-year-old to be diagnosed bipolar, for her to have anger and acting out to the point you have to call the police, I would really want to talk to your daughter about her pain and to really address and help her get to a place. If you said, how can I help her? I would pay and do anything I could to help. And you're focusing on the addiction, I would focus on the pain. Now, you got to work on both. You got to work on both of these. But somehow, this girl's really, I'm going to guess, has to be, if you could identify with her pain, that would be a very important start.
Yeah. And I think that
she doesn't want to share that with anybody. And another thing I can think of is I heard it from her boyfriend. She didn't share it with me, but she got raped when she was in teenager. That's what I heard from her boyfriend. So I don't know, I didn't hear that from her, but that can be traumatized as well.
Okay, so let me give you since you mentioned a boyfriend, then that could be the way you help her, is that you talk with the boyfriend and say, look, it's obvious that she's struggling and this isn't getting better. How about let's try to get her some help together? And maybe he's the one that could say to her, okay, we need to go to this program, this hospital, this meeting, or something like that. I mean, there's a good chance that he's in as bad shape as she is, but that might be the only link that you have there. Really sorry for what you're going through. John and Henry have a book about having difficult conversations. Try to find one of those and get it to you. You're listening to New Life Live, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Let's pray for Yoshiko. This is one of those nearly impossible situations where we need some miraculous things to kind of come together, and then there can be some hope and healing there. If you know somebody that needs some help, you can always tell them, why don't you just call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and let them find some help for you. We would love that if you did that. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come right back. 1-800-NEW-LIFE if you need help, or newlife.com. You can also support this ministry at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Stay tuned. We'll be back.
I feel blessed to have had this opportunity for my needs to be met, connecting with other women who are fighting the same fight, hoping for healthy marriages and growing closer to the Lord on their journey.
My name is Shelly Martinkus, and I want to personally invite you to the Restore Workshop. If you have been affected by betrayal, it might be that your husband has been looking at pornography, it might be an emotional, physical affair. I would love for you to come join us.
I feel encouraged and hopeful that even in my struggle, I am enough.
You will leave with hope, with a community of sisters ready to support you, and you will also leave with tools to move you forward on this journey.
Through the sharing in our small group, I realize that I am not alone.
Please don't hesitate. Pick up the phone, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I would love to see you there.
The Restore Workshop is being held online Saturday, February 27th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You're a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in the biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here. Really glad that you're with us. Chemical addictions are on the rise, just like we heard. And if somebody you know is struggling, let us connect you to a treatment center that might provide that kind of real help. We've on Life Recovery Today, I've interviewed some folks from Christian treatment centers, and I think you'd really, or the person you care about would really benefit by going to one of those. All right, let's go over here to Roland. Chantilly, Virginia is where Roland's calling from, and I think I got that exactly wrong. Here we go. Line 4, Roland. Hi there. How are you? Well,
how you guys doing today?
Well, we sound like we're in a windstorm. We're doing all right. How are you?
Not too bad. I just have wanted to get you guys' advice. Growing up, I had a pretty rough childhood. Took abuse at home, took abuse at school, what have you. Hold on, I'm going to take you guys off speaker.
That'd be great.
I'm sorry. I don't want you guys... There,
all right.
Better?
Winds have changed. Yes, okay, Roland, go ahead. How can we help?
All right. So like I said, my home life growing up as a young child was kind of rough. Took abuse at home, took abuse at school, and pretty much lived my whole life trying to please others up until like the last 10, 15 years. And really, I've done pretty good for myself. But my problem is I feel like that outsider looking in.
Okay.
No matter where I go, no matter what I do. And I'm now separated from my wife for 4 or 5 years. And I'm starting to date again.
Why aren't you divorced from her if you're separated and dating? Why aren't you divorced?
I basically allow the marriage to stay because she gets benefits from my retirement, military retirement, health care. So we just haven't filed the paperwork.
Uh-huh.
But we've been separated. We have 3 children, 3 beautiful children.
How old are they?
And 19, 17, and 13.
Ouch. Okay, so, and then just give me a quick rundown. If I was talking to her, she'd say, we are separated because...
there was some infidelity, gambling, drug use, not on my part. I've always been a pretty straight arrow, pretty straight shooter. I've never cheated on my wife, even up till now.
She did all of that, huh?
Yeah.
And did she get help? Was she remorseful or not?
She's not very remorseful. She's always seeking help, but it's one of those deals where I think she's just looking for a diagnosis.
Okay, so what's the question for us about you feel like everybody's belonging, but you're not, right?
Right. It's something I've felt all my life. You go to a group setting, a party, a bar, something like that, entertainment, and I find myself in the corner nursing a drink and just being by myself and thinking, I need to get out of here.
Some people might call that a bit of social anxiety.
Yeah. Is there any path I can take to help overcome this?
Absolutely. Yeah. In fact, Milan, I'm sure you have enough. Well, let me just tell you. First of all, the path includes this phone call where you finally say to somebody, I don't like this. This, I don't want to be this way. I'm 57. I might have only 40 more years to live if I can go to 97. I would like to not have this. Well, maybe it will happen. But you'd want to say, I need some help here. And you said it. Anybody that has this, a lot of times the anxiety is so great, they don't even want to get help or talk to anybody about it. But in your case, so you see it, and that is good. And, I would just say that it seems like to me that if you could get into some kind of recovery or support group where you're kind of volunteering to be uncomfortable for about an hour when you're in this group, if you did that along with some really great counseling and then maybe even go to our emotional freedom intensive, I think you could really deal with this in a big way. And, and I just hate to see your kids seeing you guys not be married, but married, you dating, and it's about finances. And, I don't know. I mean, I get it, but it's got to be very, very confusing to them, and it could be setting them up to have no code, no foundation of truth. They might see you making it up as you go along, and then maybe you can handle that, but maybe they start to make it up like you do, and they can't handle it, and then you're really in trouble.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again.
You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-639-5433.
We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back. Steve Arterburn here, and we are talking with Roland. And Milan, you wanted a few things you wanted to say with Roland here.
Hey, Roland, thank you for your call. So did you also say you were in the military, Roland?
Yes, sir. I was in the military for, I retired.
Okay. So the fact that you feel like an outsider, a couple of thoughts. Anybody with an abusive background who has been singled out, picked on at home, and then in their school culture, they're always going to feel insecure when they walk into a crowd. They're going to feel uncomfortable. It may be that the military provided structure for you that helped you feel safer. And now that you're out from the military, you're back into, well, who am I? There's not a rank, there's not an order, there's not protocols. And I just don't know how to walk into a crowd and feel comfortable. So Steve was right earlier when he talked about realizing that you have a social phobia, if you will. The word phobia is fear, because of your history. And it makes sense, and it's very possible the military helped protect you, but now you're back out in. So what you need to do is go through a grief work, and where you're working through the grief and the trauma of your history. I was bullied a lot as a child as well, and it has affected a lot of the things I've chosen to do as an adult. But I had to work through that, and I too felt like an outsider or insecure. I didn't know what to do at a party and all those kinds of things. Secondly, you have to, as Steve said, this was a great point. If you got into a processing group with a therapist and you learned to have opinions, express, listen to others, look them in the eye, validate them, carry on a conversation, this would be a great way to desensitize yourself from the phobia that you feel. But your phobia makes sense. And I just want to tell you that it's just not something that's odd or unique or peculiar. It makes a lot of sense with your history, and you can work your way out of that.
Yeah, you know, what Milan's saying is so true. Even if you were in the military 20 years ago, When you're in the military, you see, you know rules,
Right.
regulations, and expectations.
Right.
No matter what rank you are. So you belong, and it's also predictable. Even if you were the healthiest human being on the face of the earth, going from military to civilian life, some people never make the comfortable adjustment.
Yeah,
it's
it's
always
hard.
uncomfortable.
It's very hard.
Really hard. So a lot of stuff's going on that you would have to decide, I'm going to really get some help here. I'm going to get therapy. I'm going to get counseling. And I just think that group, volunteering to be uncomfortable for about an hour in a group, can really change things. Because if you do that, then there's your first place outside of military that you start to feel like you belong. I also just want you to consider a 13-year-old and the impact that all of this that you're doing, dating, being separated because of finances, the impact that could have on her long term, because all of us need a foundation. Even if it's a foundation to rebel against for a little while, we need the foundation. And to not have anything to adhere to or go against, it can really mess up a child's security. So think about that, pray about that. And if you ever think that maybe there could be a chance again with your wife, our intensive, the marriage intimacy intensive, it really does bring people back together that literally hate each other. I'm going to send you Milan's book, How We Love. Larry Sonnenberg is in the studio. Larry, how are you?
Doing good, Steve. Thanks.
Good. How could what do you have for us here?
I have testimony.
Okay.
And it's from someone who went to a marriage workshop, and
Awesome.
I don't really like the word picture they paint, but I'm going to read it anyway.
Okay.
This workshop was like a spiritual enema.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All righty,
go.
Steve. Maybe we need to go back to the drawing board here.
Do you have any good testimonies?
Yeah, and it goes on from there. No, I'm just kidding.
But those aren't bad. Sometimes it's relieving.
Okay, moving right along.
Okay.
It's an investment that will keep on going.
Yeah.
When a rabbi picked his men, he picked the best. Jesus picked the worst. He didn't call the qualified, but he qualifies the called. Through this ministry, God's qualifying us to go out and take back our families. The first time fruit is mentioned in the Bible is in Genesis 1, and the last time is in the last chapter of Revelation. That we are to bear fruit goes from beginning to end. When you sow into this ministry, it's like giving to God. It's good soil. So, folks, I want you to see and be reminded over and over again what happens when people come to this ministry and our lives intersect.
Now, you have used the other thing, Larry, you've said this. It's like a root canal. Now, these analogies sound severe, but they're true. There's pain, and then a root canal changes everything. There's relief, there's pressure, and it goes away, and you're treating the real issue, the infection,
right,
and the blockages, just to get literal again. But we need that. We need to be unblocked. We need to be freed. We need to be liberated from the things that are holding us down. And Larry, you get to see this, and so does Steve, so do I.
Yeah.
The number of things that pin people down.
Right.
Well, I think these analogies with the thing you mentioned in the tooth, it's just saying that from top to bottom, there are painful things and there are solutions, and we're trying to provide tough solutions. And I hope people will support us in doing that.
And we still have money left to match in the matching gift. We're between $50,000 and $60,000 to go. This is a recorded program for a couple days, so I'm confident in that number, but we need your help. Help us close down that match.
Man, please don't read that one again. Yeah. just take that one and do something with it.
Never thought I'd be suggesting that we edit Larry, but I tell you, he's been under a lot of stress since this COVID thing. All right,
Okay,
1-800 give to the Larry Fund, and we'll try to get
we're going to start a GoFundMe for Larry. Yes.
Thank you, everybody who's given.
All right,
thanks. Thanks for that one.
Let's talk with, how about Ellen, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Ellen, you're on. How are you, and what's going on in your life today?
I'm great. Good to talk to you all. My question is, I have a supervisor that continuously belittles me, yells at me, and I want to know how to deal with her in a proper manner, which I have for years, but people keep telling me I need to fight back, and that's just, I guess I just don't know how, or that's just not who I am in a professional manner.
I don't want to go out on a limb here, but has anybody told you to quit? Find another job at another place.
They have. I've been at this place for 13 years, and I do like my job. She's been there 7, so I think I'm kind of trying to wait her out.
And so is there a procedure that your organization has when you have a grievance against somebody in the organization?
Yes, and I followed those rules.
And then what happened?
3 years ago, I was
How many?
moved from under her. 3.
Okay,
In
3 years ago.
2017, I was moved from under her.
Uh-huh.
But then I don't know what happened, but I got moved back under her in the fall of 2019.
Ouch.
And she started doing everything right that I had complained about that she was doing, but now, after a year and 3 months, she is falling back.
Ellen, I don't know who you would go to, but it just seems like to me a simple matter of sitting down with her and the supervisor or human resources and saying, when we got back together, things were really good, and I was so grateful. But now in the past year, things have kind of slipped back the way they were, and I'm just wondering if we could make some adjustments, because I want to enjoy working here and I want to do a good job. You started laughing in the middle of that. I've had that happen before. But
well, it's because we are human resources.
You are
She's the
human resources
director, and I'm the human resources manager under her.
And anytime there's a inhumane human resources director, it does present a bit of a problem. Well, we'll take a break here. We'll come back, try to give you some help on this.
Thank you.
Here's some advice for her. Maybe she's listening. Let's just be nice, people. Let's just be nice to each other. It's a radical thing, but it can change lives. We'll be back right after this.
I came into this thinking that my husband was the cause of many of our issues.
The New Life Intimacy and Marriage Workshop will be held online Saturday, February 13th.
But after learning about our attachment styles, I understood how our past hurts were playing into our present problems.
Join Steve Arterburn.
It's been a dream of mine for a long time to help people to grow more intimately together, and we believe that everybody has room to grow in the intimacy level of their life.
And Milan Yerkovich.
We help couples understand how their attachment style is sabotaging their current relationship, and then we teach them how to create comfort in a relationship.
To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or go to newlife.com.
Here at this workshop, we had our first ever conversation without yelling, blaming, and accusing.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I turned on New Life, and the topic that day was about anxiety. And just by listening, I got relief.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of 7 books, including Growth Has No Boundaries by Drs. John Townsend and Henry Cloud, Take Your Life Back by Steve Arterburn and Dr. Dave Stoop, and the Emotional Freedom Workbook. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchase, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here with Milan Yerkovich. And Ellen has called us and really struggling here. Milan, do you have any other advice maybe that she would be helpful here?
Two things.
Okay.
Two things. One, of course, if you work within HR, you are familiar with labor laws, and I happen to have a friend who's a labor law attorney, and if life is really miserable but you like your job, certainly documenting your position, documenting the statements. Keeping track on a Post-it note every time she says something, et cetera, and then letting your superiors know this is just unacceptable.
Yeah.
That's thought number one.
Okay.
And that you're going to do something about it if they don't. There is a high sensitivity to the protection of workers, and it's important to keep in mind. Number two, I bet, Ellen, that you also have a hard time and have had a hard time, perhaps for a long time, defending yourself.
Yes, probably.
Well, you see, that's part of it too.
Okay.
A lot of times, for instance, we'll grow up in an atmosphere like we heard on another call, just previous to this one, where with a rough childhood, we're straight as an arrow. We end up being a pleaser. We end up being, just trying to always walk a thin line of not trying to upset anybody. And I would say that one of the things that you're really going to want to do is to really stop and look at that. Why assertiveness is difficult for you. And it probably is tied to fear or pain or hurt in your childhood. Well, that's what's important here. Now, I was like that. I used to be like that, where I was afraid to be assertive as a child and adolescent and a young adult. And then I realized I had to do a lot of work to push through that and to get into a place where I could have opinions and be okay with people not perhaps liking my opinion. But if you look at Jesus, he was very assertive in certain situations. He had a very assertive side. If there was a violation of something that was holy, he would be very assertive and drive people out of the Temple Mount where they were selling and, looked like a, weekend flea market. And he drove everybody out. So, we have to understand to be Christian isn't to be passive. To be a Christian is not to be non-assertive. Jesus was passive and non-assertive only one day of his life, only one day. The rest of the time, he was very confrontational with things that were not right. So I really want to encourage you, Ellen, to possibly even do some personal work with a therapist that could help you work through that history that has caused you to hold yourself in and not want to risk.
Yeah, I want you to hold on because let's see if we can find a therapist for you, because that's how these things totally change. They help you figure out why you're that way and then what you need to do to change it. All right, I'm just going to take one last caller here and see if we can get this in.
Thank you, Ellen, for calling, by the way.
Appreciate that. I'm going to send you Milan.
How about Take Your Life Back?
Take Your Life Back is going to be the book. Elizabeth from Pensacola listens on the app. How are you?
Oh, I'm well. Thank you. Thanks for taking my call. I'll
Sure.
put a little plug in here for the How We Love series and for being a Club New Life member. How We Love, we got the video set, we read the book, we took a millennial married community group through it, and It's just such good information. My husband and I have been married for 40 years, and I would say at this point we're close to being secure connectors.
Oh, that's great,
that's
Elizabeth.
awesome.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so good though. Such good information. My issue is has been 14 years in the making. We have a son and a daughter, and they're both married. They both have 4 children, and thought we were on our way to a great end of life, situation with our whole family. And it has our relationship with our daughter-in-law has just escalated to a point where we are so dysfunctional now. Started out with just, her feeling, what appeared to me was she was just feeling awkward, and, how you feel when you're an in-law and you're, trying to assimilate into this new family that just seems so weird. And so little things that would happen, that's kind of what I attributed it to.
Okay. So
the first confrontation,
I don't want to run out of time, so you're going to have to cut down to the question for us.
Well, I'm not sure how to proceed at this point. We've it's Christmas, and all of us getting together we all can't get together. She despises my daughter, and but my husband and I have been able to be with them for birthdays and things. So I'm not sure what to do here. My heart has gotten a little bit hard, and I'm wanting to throw up a boundary and just say, this has got to stop. Your criticism of us has got to stop, and you've got to accept our family.
Why isn't your passive son? Why isn't your passive son championing your cause here?
That's a great question, because he has before. I feel like I know that he was trying to bring balance to the situation for both sides, and this last year he isn't. He's just joined in with the fight, and he just won't fight for us.
And are you are you married? And yeah, you are, because you went to the intimacy thing.
Yeah.
Well, what about your husband having a little heart-to-heart with his boy?
Oh, we've had those throughout the years. We've had several here lately. We also all work together. My husband and my son work together, and I go in occasionally. But
wow.
It just is. It's so contentious. He was the model child too. It's such a foreign situation for us with him.
Yeah.
But he has joined in the fight with her.
Okay, so the question then is, what do you do?
Yeah, like how far do I take it? Because right now I've kind of landed. I had to find a place to land, and I've landed in the place. Well, you have said that you don't want to be with us, so we're going to be separate. And when you want to be with us, you'll let us know. But
what's wrong with that?
It just.
What's wrong with that?
Well,
option?
We don't get to see our grandchildren.
It's painful.
The option is we're missing 4 of our grandchildren, and our grandchildren and don't get to see their cousins. So, and they all had great relationships before, but now she has said we cannot see the kids, and it's all because she feels like we don't accept her. And but even that, the offenses and the cause of the conflict has changed.
All right, so we're just about out of time. It's pretty complex. Milan, you have a thought here as we close up?
Yes. Ultimately, it's up to your son to resolve this. And her unhealthiness is, of course, pulling the family down. But I think your boundary is a good one, and all you can do is wait. But it's up to your son.
Yeah. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Call us.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.